Welcome to ELT Live number 3, being streamed live on September 17th, 2014. Tonight's topic is using mobile tools and strategies for English language teaching. We've assembled another fine panel. Let us introduce ourselves. I am Jeff Lebo in Busan, Korea. Ben?
And I'm Oh Jung-hoon from, again, Busan, Korea, and I work for Smart Education Center in Busan. And I run programs for teachers and parents, as well as students. Nice to meet you.
And Taeyeon, if you're available?
Yeah, can you show, can you see me right now?
We see most of your face. We see, that's fine, we see you.
Can you see me?
We can see you. Can you tell us who you are, where you are?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Now I'm teaching in middle school in Korea, Busan, and and yeah, my name is Taehyun Kim, and yes, I'm really interested in also teaching some with some materials like like device and something. So that's why I joined the program. This show. Sorry.
And I should mention that I do teacher training at Busan University of Foreign Studies, and both Jung-hoon and Taehyun were trainees that I worked with, and both have gone on to be superstars in using smart tools and other ed tech in their teaching, so I appreciate them joining us. And someone that I just dragged in here and was kind enough to join us from France, Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I am in Clermont-Ferrand, France, and I try to do most of my teaching online. I use a lot of Google Drive and the different products that come with Google Drive. Nice to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. And returning champion, Dan Craig.
Hello, my name's Dan Craig. I'm kind of in Seoul, but I guess now I'm in Busan, which is why my internet connection isn't nearly as good anymore. I work at Sangmyeong University in the city, and I don't know, I've been there for about 5 years now, and I do primarily teacher education there.
And I'm sorry, you're in Busan now?
No, Paju.
Paju, okay. So Busan, we should have gotten together for some drinks. And if safety permits, Ben is driving to work right now. If you want to say hello, feel free. If you need to focus on the road, please do so.
Hello all. I'm here at a stoplight right now currently, and I teach at a public university here in Aguascalientes, Mexico. And I'll probably be muting my mic for the greater part of this broadcast, but I look forward to hearing your all comments. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And during our last show, we put out a suggestion for topics, and someone said, hey, how about using mobile tools and smart technology? So here we are. I thought we'd begin with a little bit of show and tell, just sort of our favorite mobile tools, smart devices, anything that we are its core. If we use smart tech in our teaching, it's what we do. So let's go around, share some of our favorites and what we do with them. Jung-hoon, why don't we start with you?
Actually, I am not a fan of apps. I usually use web-based devices or web-based tools. But today, here we are talking about mobile apps or tool. And,
so I'm sorry, are you saying that like even on smart devices, you don't like to use apps, you prefer to use the web interface?
Right, exactly. Because in Korea, I prefer using iPads to Galaxy Tabs or Android devices, but I usually run programs for Galaxy Tab or Samsung Android or iPads. So I need to apply programs to both of those devices. Then some apps doesn't apply to iPads, and some apps doesn't apply to Android devices. So I need to compromise about those things. So I decided to use web-based tools instead of iPads. What I mean is the apps.
That's a very good point.
Yes, but today I will show you the apps I like in my classes or in my programs. First, I would like to show you Touchcast. Touchcast, I introduced to Touchcast by Jeff. Jeff introduced me to Touchcast through his, Digo sharing. Let me show you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Can you see my apps?
Yes, we can.
Yes. So this is Touchcast. So this is good thing to make newscast or some online lecture or to deliver your message around the world. You have a lot of options. What I mean is the template to choose. Jeff, am I doing right?
Yes. Can you give us an overview of what it does basically?
Yes. Let me show you what I made with my trainees. Here it is. So this one I made with my trainees, and we made about how to ride bicycle safely. The topic was how to ride bicycle safely. Let me show you.
I think we're probably not going to get audio from the Touchcast.
Really?
Yes, because the Hangout is getting audio from your mic.
Okay, you can just see the screen, what's going on screen. So they are delivering, we are delivering message to the people how to ride bicycle safely.
Feels like the web. I'll show you what I mean. Say you want to bring up an article from the web, like this recent Time cover story on the real cost of healthcare. With Touchcast, the article appears at first like a regular TV-style graphic, but with a touch, it launches full browser mode.
And Jeff,
Or maybe you want to see
Yes.
out there on Twitter.
So guys, can you see what the Touchcast is like?
If you can pause that for a moment, Jung-hoon.
Yes.
Because I'm also thinking for people who are going to be listening to this recording and not seeing the audio, they might not be quite appreciating that. So if we can just describe, because what is different about what Touchcast does? What
Yes.
features does it add?
Yes, let me show you the functions of the Touchcast. So you can choose template in here. And you can set the title and the tags. So this is title, bicycle. And this is tag. So people can search what you made through this search term, which is tag. What is good thing about this one is you can insert lots of apps into your videos. They call this one VEFs.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Is like
Right.
What this lets you do is take a basic video, and is it integrated with YouTube? Like you can do it on top of a YouTube video, right?
So
And you can add like what kind of apps, what kinds of features?
Can you see you can see lots of apps which can be integrated into a Touchcast. So while you are making videos, you can insert web page, or you can insert some hotspots you want to go to, and you can also use your photos. You can use your videos. You can insert your videos into, the video, or you can you have lots of options to insert into your videos. That's what is good thing about this one.
Okay. So, okay. So it's really a way to broaden what a video does and how people can interact with the video, I would say. All right. Let's move on and we'll go around again. Taeyeon, what are some of your
Hi.
favorite tools or apps?
Yeah. You know, yeah, most of my work is teaching my student, right, in English. So I just let them know the easy apps, like an easy program, the famous program, how to use like a famous app like a picture strip and then Facebook and something. Most of the apps are English based one, right? So I just use my class. My class is English class, right? So I just use some that apps, and then I let them know how to use the apps in English, like famous apps. So
Yeah, well, we want to know that you might
yeah, I'm
think of
sorry.
other things, but we want because you've given me I've learned a lot from you in recent months.
Yeah.
You suggested Divvy. Can you tell
Yeah,
us about Divvy?
DB, and then Notography is also famous. These are famous apps, I think. Not
But can you for people who maybe aren't familiar with Divvy, can you tell us
uh
what Divvy
okay.
does?
Yeah, DB is DB is actually like I'm so sorry. Yeah, dictionary read movie clips, right?
Yeah, like Divvy, it's for me some of the most effective apps are the simple ones. And Divvy I like for its simplicity. It's basically a good dictionary, and I like it's a very simple interface. But it includes video examples, and it goes online, and so if the word is beauty, you click on it, and you'll see examples of beauty from YouTube videos. So it's just sort of, and it also just has very simple definitions and
All
synonyms
right. I
and
recommend to
translations.
you use. All right. I recommend to use Schoology also, right? Can you remember?
Yes, yes.
Schoology, right? Yeah, this is like online classroom, right? So I also make some, also make some, class on the online, and then students also access some like a simple exam, and then I can let them know like uh like
Yeah, Schoology,
homework.
Schoology is really a learning management system.
Mhm.
It's kind of like an alternative to Moodle or Blackboard or something like that. And I know Ben is also an avid user, so we might have a whole Schoology section later. I mean, I don't know if this qualifies as mobile technology, but one of the other things you suggested to me was Powtoon, which
Yeah,
is a new
Powtoon, right?
present tool.
Yeah,
It's not especially mobile, but it does make videos and would be a more mobile-friendly way of engaging with a presentation.
right. And
All right.
yeah,
What,
I'm just a baby learner, so yeah,
but you are an experimenter, which I
I
think is a
know.
big part of this, is just trying it. Lindsay, what are your favorite toys?
Yeah. Um, well, as I said before, I use a lot of Google Drive. Uh, I think with all of my classes this semester, I have class notes, which I share with everyone in the class, and they can all access it. And I put all of the course materials in the class notes, so they can access them from any computer.
And by note, you mean like a Google document?
Yep, I put it all in a Google document, and I update it weekly, and that's great. And something that actually, I mean, maybe you guys know about this, but this totally changed the game for me this year. I figured out that you can take a picture of a document with your smartphone and send it directly to Google Drive as a PDF, which is great for textbooks, for anything that is difficult to find online.
That's
Other
really
than that,
cool. Because
yeah,
so often these days, learners all over the world, rather than like writing anything down, you put something on the screen, they're just gonna take a picture of it with their phone. And the fact that that
yeah.
can automatically become a PDF, can Google then grab the text from the PDF? Is there any like?
Yes, I think you can do that. I haven't figured that part out yet, though.
Well, that's very cool. All right. Any other
Um,
mobile stuff to mention?
Any other mobile stuff? Out the whole Google product, not really. But the whole Touchcast thing sounds great, so I'm excited to look into
And,
that more.
and I'm sorry, I forgot. What level do you teach?
This year I'm teaching engineering students at the graduate and undergraduate level.
Okay. Dan, you got back just in time for your turn. Or not.
Oh,
So I'm kind of back. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, good. Well, unfortunately, I ended up restarting my computer, so I had to come in by phone. A couple of things that I put up on the Google Doc that I like to use, and by saying I like to use them means I've used them sometimes. One is Socrata, and I think I mentioned that last week. Socrata is essentially a smartphone clicker system where you can just get quick feedback from students, and you can also put in programmed quizzes in there as well. It's pretty convenient. You can see who's answering questions in real time. If you go to the Google Doc, you can test it out. I opened up my room for us. And it's pretty easy. You can do it either from an app on an Android or iOS device, or the students can just access it through a web page. And all they have to do is go into the main website, and it says log in as student, and the only login that's required is the number of your room, which is a really easy number to give. So I like that. It's quick, it's easy, and I put a sample quiz in there if you want to take it. And that's called Socrative.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. You put a sample quiz where?
Socrata.
So if you go to the Google Doc for the
yes.
For our Hangout, I put a link to Socrative there, and I gave
okay.
the number from my room.
Oh.
The other one I put up there is kind of a newcomer, and that's Move Note. And Move Note, I believe, is just Android at this point, but it's a really drop-dead simple kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, a video lecture program where you can upload a PPT or pictures, and you can use your phone to record the lecture. Great for on the go, great for quick and dirty, kind of stuff. It's it's not as smooth as some of the other programs, but it works quite well.
Present your documents with video. What does that mean?
Oh, maybe I made a typo.
No, not at all. I'm looking at the website, and I'm just. I'm a little slow. Can you? So
you've probably seen a few of the other services that offer you can upload your PowerPoint, and then you can give an audio or a video lecture over the PowerPoint. Well, the only twist on this one is that you can do it from your phone.
Okay. Okay, so Ben, on his way to work, can pull up his documents and prepare a flipped lecture. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Speaking of Ben, what is your status, Mobile One?
Yeah, just pulling into the parking lot here. I'll just add a few comments briefly here on some of the technologies that I'm using with my students, or that my students are using. I do like the Schoology app, just to echo some of the comments that have already been said about Schoology. It really helps, especially the mobile app, allow the students to have access to their grades, the content that we're talking about in class, basically all the aspects that we're including in Schoology they have access to. We also use Google Drive, Google Docs, since I'm teaching a composition course. It really does a good job allowing students to place comments. I give feedback via comments so that they are able to see the types of errors that they're committing, and also since we share the documents throughout all the class, that all the students have access to all of their classmates' work as well. so they can compare their work and the feedback that I'm giving them to their own work. So those are two, and both of those obviously have apps for mobile devices, and it's very common for our classes in the class itself for my students to be using their phone or tablet to do some of the work they're writing, and we project it then on the screen. So the mobile apps allow us to make the learning process open and more transparent, and so that for me is a biggie. The third thing I would like to add, the app that I really like is dictionary.com. It's got a nice app for mobile devices, but more importantly, students are able to favorite the words, so they can, whenever they come across new words at any point, if they have their mobile device, which they almost always do, they can add new words to that list. And then once they get to a desktop, they can create games with their new word list, so that they are given opportunities to recycle and use those words in new context, so that they are hopefully more likely to learn the vocabulary. So the big three for me are Schoology, the Google Drive, and dictionary.com.
All right, and I'm going to go simple. I'm going to start with something similar to dictionary.com, which is Google Translate, which as a translator is mediocre, especially for English to Korean. But what I like most about it is the speech recognition possibilities. So that if I'm teaching pronunciation or minimal pairs or something, and we're practicing beat bit, the student can sit there and practice beat bit as many times as they want until they get the automatic feedback. And the speech recognition also isn't perfect, but it's it's engaging, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I will also mention Feedly, which I still am a little upset at Google for killing Google Reader, because that was just the perfect RSS reader. But for groups that are setting up blogs or anything, I think Feedly is a really useful way for a class to keep track of each other's blogs. I set up all my students with blogs of all their classmates, all the alumni who've gone through the program before, and then certain news, Korean bloggers, things like that. And it's just, I have a long commute these days, and Feedly is just a really easy way to catch up on what's new in whatever. And finally, this is something that Koreans are familiar with, but actually it's I think gaining some more traction, is Band. It's produced by a company called Naver, which is Google of Korea, basically. And it's another group messaging app. I've mentioned Kakao before, which is also a very nice group messaging app. But this has a few features that I like that Kakao doesn't. It has a calendar. It has albums that you can have within a band. So I've just started using it this semester, but it's also much easier to set up. Like with Kakao, you have to be friends and invite them. Here you can just get an access code and say, all right, this is the code I want you to use, click, and off you go. So those are mine. We'll move on to some other stuff, but if there are other apps or tools people wanted to mention, please jump in.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Tom. Jump in.
Yeah, you already mentioned about speech feature. What is it? Speech recognition feature, right? So I also use that one in my writing class. It's really interesting. Yeah, speech feature, speech recognition feature, also known as STT, sound to text. Yes, it's really helpful for any English class, I think. Some teachers, yeah, some teachers more focus on apps when they think of a mobile class or smart class, but I think device has really good functions, many functions. So even though I ask my student to write something, student can use STT. Yes, that STT feature, and then we can have like a speaking and then listening classes also in our writing class. So Yeah. Device also
Do
have
I'm
a
sorry,
lot of.
Tan. Do you use a particular app or do you use the built-in speech commands and that kind of thing? And also, too,
Uh,
Tan, can you move your microphone a little further from your mouth? You're
oh,
coming
sorry.
in very loud. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah. Device. Every device has that function. I think this is not mobile. This is mobile function. I think, but this is not special app. This is not special like a some special like a Schoology, not that kind of apps. But I think yeah, the device also have many functions like really helpful for our class. I think so.
That's true. I mean, there's a lot of speech recognition built into devices these days that you can play with. Anything else people wanted to mention for show and tell?
Okay, let me introduce Layer Augmented Reality app. So here I linked the website Layer. Layer is one of the augmented reality apps, and let me show you what I do with Layer. Let me share screen with you. Jeff, can you see my iPad screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
So what are you saying? We're looking at your iPad screen?
Yeah, iPad screen.
How are we doing that?
I use X Mirage mirroring. I use a mirroring app. I use one of the apps, and it's called X Mirage. Can you see my screen? The camera screen?
Yes.
Yes. So these are the apps I teach during my class in my Smart Education Center. I teach them Iliademy. Can you see here?
I
This
see a
is
QR code.
yeah, QR code. Through QR code, they are supposed to log into my MOOC platform, which I like Iliademy. And I also make them experience augmented reality, which is a layer. And I introduce students and parents about apps which they can use to study English. And here are my favorite, YouTube and Google Translator and Google Maps and Tech. Have you heard of Tech?
No.
Tech is one of the apps with which you can use mobile webs with it. And I also teach parents and student teachers about how to read ebooks, ebook apps. And this is my website, smartvoca.com, window2voca.com. I have several websites which I run. Smartvoca.com is one of them. And I also introduce parents and students about CNN, PBS, Rerun TV apps, which are used to study English. And among them, let me introduce you Layer. Can you see a picture in the center of this paper?
Okay, it looks like
This
a
picture,
yeah,
this
okay.
picture.
Yep.
I use this picture as marker. So let me run Layer apps. So this is a layer. I tap. It looks like camera, but not camera. This is layer application, and it scan the page, and it will read. Uh, so here, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes. So here, it allow people navigate all over the stuffs, which is, marked
Wow.
here.
So this makes you like RoboCop or Geordie LaForge from Star Trek. This gives you like a whole
Mm,
screen of information about what you're looking
right,
at.
right. So they can click here. If they click this one, it links to Khan Academy, so people can experience what Khan Academy is. I also introduce TED, as you know. So
So what
uh,
determines, so when it's reading the image and it's
yes,
creating a link basically,
yes.
what determines that link? Is it does a program determine? Can you
Yeah, let me show
customize
you
it?
the program where you can make layer augmented reality. So I opened their web page. This is a layer.com page. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes. So here you can make your own augmented reality. It's basically free for 3 month period. But if you want to make your the augmented reality you made for more than 3 months, you should pay. But for 3 months, it's free.
We're teachers. We don't like to pay. Are there any free options?
Yeah, for 3 months, it's free. So if you make one thing, if you make one augmented reality, it's alive for 3 months, and you can make them alive again if you make,
And I'm sorry,
another.
again, do you determine what links are visible, or is it an automatic
Exactly,
process?
exactly. You make your own layer.
Okay.
You make your own stuff.
Could you do it automatically if you wanted? Like if I wanted to just go to the grocery store or somewhere, can I just hold that up and get data or links?
Right, exactly. You make it creatively. It's on your own. It depends on you. The content is up to you.
All right, very interesting. And
Yes.
that's iPad only or Apple only?
No, all of the devices.
Oh,
It
great.
works for multi-devices, Android apps and iPad. It works everywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Ben, you have joined us in the non-vehicular way. I just want to say hello to you. Glad you arrived to work safely. Anything else you wanted to chime in with?
Well, no, not at this point. I'm not sure. I would be curious, and I don't know if we have time to discuss this, but I'd be curious to know what challenges other teachers face with regard to connectivity, how students adapt to these technologies, if they all are on board immediately, or if there are some that are slow to come around, how others deal with those types of challenges.
Great segue, great transition. Let's move away from show and tell and talk about some of those challenges. Would you like to start, Ben?
Nope. No, actually, some of the students in fact, it's inevitable when we start each semester that there are certain students that are a little bit slow to come around and not really familiar with the different technologies that have been chosen for the course. So we typically begin the semester trying to go over these technologies and get some of them kind of used to using them. Most students come around, but not all students. So it is a challenge, I think, in my case, to try to help those students and be available when necessary, when additional support is needed. But it's not a uniform thing as far as students. They all come from different backgrounds, and some have broadband, some don't. So it can be a challenge at times.
Other thoughts on student concerns, objections, challenges?
I've actually had, for the first time, I've had an issue with students not wanting to give their information to Google this semester, which kind of messes up my whole Google Drive thing I have going on. So what I asked them to do, I asked them to just create a Word document with all their information or all their classwork, and they'll send it to me on the school email. But yeah, I understand their concerns. And in France, they're pretty sensitive to it because there was just a lawsuit with privacy of information, and Google had to pay a bunch of money to the EU. So it's a real thing. And so I asked the students to try to find some alternatives for me. So I'll see what they bring back for me. But yeah, that's an interesting issue I've come across.
Was it just anti-Google or like what if they had used a pseudonym and just created a Google account that had no personal information, they just used it for class purposes? Would they object to that?
You know, I told them that. I said, you don't have to put personal information about yourself. You can just do the classwork without putting personal information, but they were totally anti-Google. I don't know if they're also anti-work. The semester just started, so I have to. But yeah, I'm gonna see how it develops and see if they come back with some other kind of alternative for me.
I'm curious, do these same students have Facebook accounts?
I didn't ask them. Somehow I doubt it, because that seems like it seems like it would be totally illogical. But yeah, I guess I could ask them.
That is a big issue. If someone doesn't want to play in the cloud, it's hard to use a lot of these apps. Team Korea, any issue? Generally here in Korea, people jump on, but I don't know. Have any of you had issues with that kind of concern?
Yes, there are a lot of concerns about those things. So it depends on the educational district. Some educational district totally blocked cloud things. They don't want to share material, the office materials with outside of the educational districts. So some educational district totally blocked those clouds. So a lot of teachers want to use Google Drive or those things in their classrooms, but these days in here, Korean teachers really find it hard to use in their classrooms because it's totally blocked. In Busan here, yeah.
Tian, I know you have first-hand experience with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Do you want to tell us your story?
Yeah, my story. Actually, my opening class is I have Friday. I have an opening class on my Friday, this Friday, and then I already made some Google document and then Google presentation at home, and then.
And you've been working on this demonstration class for months.
Yeah,
put a lot of work into it.
A lot of work at home first, and then I bring all the stuff to my school, and then my school my school was blocked by education office. So I really worried, and then I posted the issue on the Facebook some group, and then somebody told me how to solve the problem, and then I got the solution, and then I post the solution on Jeff's Facebook timeline now, and then I solved the issue, but sometimes it's very nervous and very concerned with that issue. Yes, I didn't have any notice from the education office, and then they suddenly blocked, and then I'm really worried, and then so. Now I'm okay.
Yeah. Taeyeon, instead of Google Drive, you can use OneDrive, Microsoft's OneDrive. Busan Education District didn't block Microsoft OneDrive.
What's the reasoning there? If they're concerned about the cloud, why would they
right.
Okay,
It's
not?
I cannot understand.
Actually, my school use Galaxy 2004, some special edition, and then they support Hangul. Korean-based document service, and then I had some alternative document, and then I prepared some alternative some document, but today I got the solution, so thank you so much about it.
Dan, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, mostly I'm coming from the university perspective, and I don't have many complaints from students in terms of their concern for their data. But from my perspective, at least for my students, I think people just don't care. I mean, they're putting their data everywhere out there. So it doesn't seem to be too much of an issue. In terms of all of my students are pre-service teachers, and so they are trying to prepare for an actual classroom in a K through 12, primarily middle school and high school environment. And so they are concerned not necessarily with data collection, but more so with access. When we're talking about mobile devices, most of the schools, whether they actually allow the access to those sites or not, they don't allow students to use their mobile devices in school. And so any kind of bring your own device solution would certainly not work. So some of the schools, of course, these days are implementing some programs where they're bringing in their own mobile devices, but that is few and far between. Mm-hmm. So I have to imagine that anything that I'm teaching them right now is maybe going to be used in the future with tablets. The tablets should have been in schools last year. And so we all know how that goes. They'll probably be in schools in 2030.
Yeah. And they won't be tablets anymore. There'll be something else. Likewise, I've had very few concerns about privacy and things like that. The biggest practical concern has been batteries charged. Modern universities need more outlets to plug everything into, or we just have like battery chargers in every room. I do have the odd blockages at my university, like Digo will be blocked. I don't know why. But I was having a conversation a couple hours ago with some people, teachers, Korean teachers, and mentioned that I was going to have this webcast and talking about smart and mobile tools. And they said, I was reading an article, and Steve Jobs never let his kids use smart technology. And in Silicon Valley, if you go around, a lot of the parents there make sure their kids don't use too much of the technology. And it was sort of a more philosophical concern that we should be careful about how we're encouraging people to learn and interact socially and things like that. Any philosophical concerns or issues about should we be doing this at all, or should we be using this technology at all?
I think one thing that Danielle touched on that I can certainly relate to as well, teaching pre-service and in-service teachers, is making it very explicit, making the students aware that what they put online will be out there forever, and that they need to make a conscious effort to, since they are seeking a profession, that what they put out there matters, and that they need to be very careful about what they put out there. Part of what they are asked to do throughout the BA is to create a LinkedIn account, which they typically relate to because there are a lot of social elements, but at the same time make them realize that it's a professional social network, and the importance of the content that they do share with everyone. So I think it's not a foregone conclusion that students are just conscious of what they put out there and will be associated to their name for the rest of their lives, basically.
How do you do that without scaring them away and them not, well, okay, well, I won't post anything then?
Well, I think that in my case, since they are seeking a profession in teaching, that they are encouraged to put out products that they are proud of, that they work very hard at doing, not necessarily that the product is perfect, but that they can demonstrate their learning online in an open way, in a professional way, in a way that hopefully will provide some benefit to them in the future when they seek a position with some institution. So if you frame it that way, at least that's how I try to approach it, that not to be afraid of it, that to use it to your advantage, to kind of begin marketing yourself now as you are progressing throughout the BA, so that when you do graduate, you have this evidence behind you to support you, and again to put you in a different light, and to really complement your resume that you would already have.
Yeah, Ben, actually, I wanted to chime in because I totally agree with you on this. I'm one of those people who has had Facebook for 10 years since it was a closed system, and you learn gradually to curate your social networking profiles and your online environment to your benefit. It's a lot of work, and based on how Facebook started and what it is now, there's been a huge evolution of what it's used for and what people can do with it. But if you pay attention and if you put flattering things online and if you put projects that you're interested in and things you like participating in, I think it does more good than harm.
Right, I agree with Lindsay. I've been 1 year using, since I used the Facebook, it was totally different. Before I used Facebook, my connections was limited, but after I began to use Facebook, I'm connected to everywhere. So I had lots of opportunity to see a lot of people who are sharing interests with me. So I feel my boundaries are really widened because of Facebook. So I have no reason to, about not using those social network, services.
And it really is a modern literacy. Being able to use social media in an appropriate way, and you might use it for in a professional context sometimes, in a personal context, and it matters who you share what with, and always being aware of don't expect anything to be private ultimately.
Mhm.
But it is an important part of, I think, what we need to be addressing.
Yeah. And I'd like to introduce you about how to avoid those things. A lot of people are concerned about, exposing their private things to outside of the world. So we need some confined space we can share only with our students. So a lot of, you know, like you use a platform like Schoology. Jeff, can I introduce you to another platform
Sure.
which is based on the MOOC? Is it okay?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. So the reason I share with this platform with you is that since the Busan Education Ministry blocked, Google Drive, we need another option. We need to share with, you know, we can open to our students without without infringing on their private things. Here it is. It's Iliademy. Some of you might know this one. Hey guys, can you see this one? Iliademy?
Yes.
Yes, this is based on it's one of the MOOC platform. In here, you can share. You can only share with your own classroom students. So it's so simple. Schoology is kind of complex, but Iliademy is so simple and beautiful. If you click this plus button, you can just make your own class. Course title, blah blah, you know.
So why did you decide to use this instead of Schoology?
Because I teach parents. I teach parents. To parents, Schoology is too complex. I've also used Moodle and Schoology, but they are too complex to use for students or parents. Schoology is okay, but to the parents, Schoology is too complex, too many functions. But Iliademy is so simple. It's like reading books. Let me show you. And if you click next here, your course title is done. The next thing for you to do is just put in contents into this platform. So in here, you can write about your course overview. And after you've done that, you can save. And the next thing, that you should do is now creating your own class topic.
Yeah, Jung-hoon, I
Yeah.
don't want a whole guide,
Uh,
but
okay.
please share what
Uh-huh.
what's special about this. And it
Yes.
sounds like simplicity is the
Simplicity is great
yeah.
strength here. So simple.
And I assume it's mobile friendly.
Mobile friendly. You don't need apps with Iliademy. It's based on HTML5 language, so you don't need any apps. Just it works for your mobile devices. Any with any mobile devices, it works. So with your cell phone, you can make your own classes.
And it's free
It's free, totally free,
forever. I like it.
forever. Democratization of your classroom. No privacy is concerned. It's with you and your own classroom. Or if you want, you can open your class with whole world, which I do. Okay.
All right, thank you. I wanted to talk about, Ben, you posted a few questions in the Google Docs. Any other questions because we're coming up on about 10 minutes to go. What are you most interested in addressing? Maybe I'll pick one. How does one adapt a learning design that accounts for students who have different levels of well, I want to sort of warp this question a little bit. Like, how does it actually affect your teaching? How do you teach differently? How do you run a class differently if people are using mobile tools? How does it affect the content? Do you feel like people learn more? Are they more focused, less focused? To the extent that you've used mobile tools, is it worth it?
And Jeff, if I could layer a question on top of that, which is related, how much of the decision-making process with regard to the technologies that we use comes from us as the teachers versus what students are already using? That is, do we adapt technologies that they're already using, or do we try to, I'll use the word impose technologies onto the students, thinking this technology is the quote-unquote best technology for our particular context? And I think it's kind of related to Jeff's question and the question I was originally thinking.
Well, I turned on the video because I wanted to talk about this one if no one else does yet. I'm often concerned, first of all, with that question of are we leading, Muhammad to the mountain or bringing the mountain to Muhammad in this case. I prefer to go to places where my students already are. However, then you have to deal with the issue of whether or not those are actually good for learning and what you want to do in your classes. I've experimented a little bit using Facebook, and I have a hard time with it. It's not structured the way I want my class to be structured, for the most part. On the other side, I've also tried things like Kakao Talk, which is the more of a chat client used here in Korea, and I've had a little trouble with that too because it's not it's not really set up very well to have multiple discussions for a class. It's really good to have one single discussion with the whole group, but certainly not layered discussions. And so I'm always trying to figure out if the places that they are places that I can use, and I've certainly found some that I think are. YouTube is certainly one of those. YouTube is a great place for students to go to because they're already there. So I've been putting a lot of my lectures on there now. And then, of course, who influences what we use? I think that's part of that question and that answer, which is I think it's a little bit of both of us. I mean, we have to evaluate what our learning goals are and see if the places that they're at and the apps they're using can actually meet those goals or can be used for those goals. If they can't be, then we have to decide whether we're going to bring them somewhere else or whether we actually need to do anything tech-related at all. Okay, that was it.
That was good. Other thoughts?
Hi.
Yes, Tia.
Yeah. I think most of Korean students already use a smartphone these days, right? So I'm really worried about the using the some smart tools and then something in my classroom. Yeah, yeah, depending on their academic levels, sometimes they can follow the directions really well, but sometimes it's really hard to follow, right? But these days, most of the students use the smartphone, so yeah, even though low level student, they feel very friendly and then familiar to the to the use anything and more focus on well. So yeah, I think using that tools and something is much better than use just yeah all this and stuff thing. So yeah, I'm never worried about the issues in my classroom. So.
Another concern that the people I was speaking with earlier raised was distraction. You say, okay, everyone take out your iPad or your Galaxy S and do our cool learning activity here. Well, what if that kid wants to check his text messages or play a game? How do you deal with the potential for distraction?
In my case, I give some, beginning of the class, I give them the school class policy, do not touch or do not touch, like a, like the thing, I let them know the policy and then let them know the rules to how to use the, so teacher should be prepared, should be prepared to, for the teach that things first, yeah, we need.
I just use an app that gives them a shock. If they use something they're not supposed to, it just kind of shocks them. I find it very effective, yeah.
Very good. Listen, everybody, I need to go to class. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Enjoyed the discussion.
Thank you very much, Ben. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
And we should probably wrap up ourselves shortly. Any other threads that we haven't, well, a lot of threads we haven't wrapped up, but any other thoughts to share before we close?
Jeff and guys, Socrates was concerned with Plato when the Socrates saw that Plato was reading books. So Plato brought books with him to study with Socrates, and Socrates really hated Plato bringing books. It's like these days people are worried about carrying phones and smart devices in the classroom. People think it will distract. Like Socrates was concerned with Plato being distracted with his books. People, kids will live in the different world. Their world is different from us. So what I'm arguing is, let's not try to think, design, think and consider the future world like as it is. It will be totally different. They will be different. They will live in different world. I think smart device is perfect.
That's a nice philosophical note to end on. Good luck topping that. Anyone else? Any closing thoughts? Lindsay, you look like you've got something on the tip of your tongue.
Well, about the whole distraction thing, I actually have a different approach. I kind of just let them check their email, and I let them respond to their text messages, and I let them go on Facebook if they want to. Because I'm also working with university students, so I don't know if it's different. But if they are motivated to do the work for the course, they'll do it online, whether it's during class or after class. So I don't really try to stop them from their social lives. I don't know, that's it.
That is sort of a nice advantage of flipped learning, or sort of, do it, here are the tasks. They're due next Tuesday. Get them done by then, and if you want to use class time to interact with me, great. If you'd rather check your email, I guess that's more important. I will share a blog post that Michael Griffin just tossed into the chat room. Michael, I wish you had joined us. It's entitled, "Why Don't Korean Students Use Apps for Learning English?" If you want to know the answer, you can check out Michael's blog post. Dan or Tan, any final words? I guess not.
Well, no.
All right. Well, I will say thank you for joining us, Dan. Tan, good luck with
Thank
your
you.
demonstration class on Friday. Jung-hoon, always a pleasure hanging out. And thank you for all the great resources and all the smart stuff you do. Good luck staying smart in Busan. And Lindsay, thank you so much. I appreciate you jumping in here, and hope you'll join us again sometime soon. Next week, we will be on Korean time Thursday at 10 p.m. That is 1300 GMT, and we're going to be connecting with Ben's students in Mexico. And I might try to grab some of mine, and we'll be talking about stuff related to ELT. So
Jeff, maybe I will say one more thing, please, if you don't mind. And just a couple of reminders. Number one, if you're in Seoul this weekend, the KMALT conference is happening on Saturday. That's at, Wayday, Hanguk University of Foreign Studies. Yeah, and that's the, KMAL is the Korean Association for Multimedia Assisted Language Learning. And they usually do a pretty good job. I do suggest people go if you're around. Also, next week, ALAC is having their conference. That's the Applied Linguistics Association of Korea, and that's at my university, at Sangmyeong University in Seoul. And ALAC always puts on a very good conference. And both of them have really good focus on technology usage. That was it.
And Durf, thank you so much for joining us. You just joined us probably from Maryland in the chat room. Sorry you got here just in time to hear us sign off, but thank you very much to everyone who participated in the conversation, everyone who joined in the chat room. Recordings will be available here and there. Please feel free to comment, post, and we'll be back next week on Thursday. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.